From getting thrown under the bus by the UFC boss to Jones's fans attacking him, this is why Stipe Miocic called out Dana White as the Jon Jones fight got delayed. The former champ was the reason behind the match not happening in July 2023. Well, according to Dana anyway. You see, some time ago, it was apparently Stipe who didn't want to fight at UFC 290. Dana appeared in an interview with TMZ Sport and said that the promotion has little time to set the fight up for International Fight Week because Miocic hadn't fought in a while. So he'd need to figure out what's his personal situation like and get ready before he can join a training camp because he hadn't fought in a long time. That part is accurate. The last time the fans saw Stipe in the octagon was back in March 2021 at UFC 260, when he lost his title to Francis Ngannou. Of course, it'd make a lot of sense for the former champ to take some time to regain his bearings before he's ready to step into the octagon. But he wasn't too pleased with Dana's comments. Obviously, the UFC president didn't say it outright, but he said enough to insinuate that the delay was due to Stipe. Still, Miocic chose to stay silent on the matter for the time being, as he didn't want to create a whole lot of drama. I figure he was waiting for something solid to materialize, but it didn't. Instead, Dana went after Jon shortly afterward too. The UFC head honcho appeared on the Pat McAfee show, and while discussing the Miocic versus Jones fight, he revealed that the new UFC heavyweight king has disappeared. White told the host that he hasn't heard from Johnny Bones for some time now. The last time Dana talked to the newest double champ was when Jon asked him about the fight, and then he just disappeared without a trace. I can't say if Jones himself noticed this interview, but Stipe made sure that he saw it. He posted a clip of Dana talking about Jon's disappearance on his Twitter account and accused the UFC president of first throwing him under the bus for running from the fight, but now a couple of weeks later doing the same to Jones. Miocic followed it up by telling people that he'll be in the gym training, just in case they need to reach him to finally make the fight happen. The heavyweight GOAT probably read too much into what Dana said, because he kind of blew things out of proportion. Good thing White decided to set the record straight regarding Stipe's claim. He was asked what the 40-year-old former champ said about the UFC boss blaming the fighters for delaying the match. Dana told the reporters during the post-fight press conference after UFC on ESPN 44 that Miocic took it the wrong way, and whatever he said in his tweets was blown up way too much by the media. It was all turned into a drama even though there was none, because he said it as a joke and people thought he was throwing both his GOATs under the bus for nothing. Let's face it, guys, it's too easy to create this sort of drama in the sport, and even Dana agrees with that. Anyway, the boss also revealed some of the details for the impending showdown between Jones and Stipe. He said that the UFC would like to have the match at Madison Square Garden because it's always a good venue and that they at least hold one big event annually there. He didn't say when the fight was going to take place, but reassured the fans that they're working on making it happen soon. Whatever may be the reason for the hold, fans are obviously not pleased with it, and Chael Sonnen expressed the sentiments of the community. Much like most of the MMA world, the bad guy isn't too pleased with the promised super fight being delayed so much. Giving his own example, he said that even though he didn't accept his matches against Mauricio Rua and Lyoto Machida, they still happened. So he doesn't really understand what's going on between Stipe and Jon. Because if they both want to fight and the UFC is more than willing to give it to them, and if they even have a venue, then this shouldn't have been dragged out for so long. Unless someone isn't telling the whole story, which is most likely the case. Now, Sonnen didn't say what could have caused the delayed, but Daniel Cormier shed some light on the issue. He thinks the holdup is on Stipe's end, because he's being too greedy. You can't blame him for asking for more money though. The guy is at the end of his career and obviously wants a big fat retirement check before he hangs up his gloves for good. DC warned his audience, saying that these are only rumors right now, something he just happened to have heard on the grapevine, and so it must be taken with a grain of salt. Having said that, the former double champ added that no matter what his differences with Jones may be, he knows that the UFC GOAT won't ever say no to a fight for whatever reason. If Bones wants to fight someone, he's gonna show up and fight them no matter the purse. So the rumors that Miocic is causing the delay make some sense to Cormier. On the flip side, Henry Cejudo says that it's Jon who's asking for more green to take the fight, because he too is looking to retire after beating Stipe. Of course, Triple C has a lot of insight into the mind of Johnny Bones as he helped coach him for his last fight against Cyril Gane. And to be perfectly honest, it isn't really unreasonable of him to be asking for money. He's still one of the fan favorites and has made the UFC a lot of money in the past. Reports are that even UFC 285 did almost 1 million in pay-per-view buys, which is huge. Jon came out of a 3-year-long retirement to face a guy who isn't that well known in a division that hasn't been doing so good lately, and still, he managed to pull in so much audience. But I know what you guys are thinking, that retirement thing bummed me out too. To make it worse, Jon recently came out and confirmed that his fight against Miocic is probably going to be his last, cause beating up the heavyweight GOAT should be enough to cement his legacy forever. He told Fox Sports that he doesn't feel like he's got much left to prove in the sport, so it's best for him to just call it now. Jones also revealed that over the years he has picked up a lot of injuries, and he doesn't really want to pick up anymore cause he wants to be able to spend some quality time with his family. He also doesn't think that it's worth it to stick around with the UFC, if that means sacrificing memorable moments with his children. This doesn't mean that Mr. Bones is completely burning all bridges with the promotion. He could still come back to a fight that was promised to him all those years ago. Jon said that Ngannou's probably the only man that can make him return to the octagon because he's really popular around the world.
The MMA factory in Paris, as they bring in guys
Ngannou knocks Arlovsky down.
And a fight with him would bring in a lot of money. Jones might be saying that he's tired of fighting, but his former rival thinks there's another side to this. DC believes that the heavyweight division isn't what Bones was expecting it to be. It was supposed to be dangerous and a real challenge for him, but it turned out to be way too easy for the GOAT. He just ran through Gon as if he wasn't even there.
So he carry him. He's putting
So he'd probably be left wondering what was supposed to be so scary about this division after all. Cormier also added that even though he didn't always see eye to eye with Jon, he'd still prefer to see him continue fighting. Miocic will definitely be a much more challenging fight for Jones, and DC can attest to that as he has fought against the 40-year-old twice himself. Also, Sergey Pavlovich will also be an amazing fight for the fans to witness. But for now, Jon remains focused on the silencer, and he even unleashed his fans on Stipe. Recently, the former champ posted a video of himself training for his upcoming fight against Bones, and he found his account flooded by a host of people telling him how useless his prep is, because Jones was going to submit him in the first round anyway. There were also a couple of guys who were asking Miocic if he was ready to get murdered in the octagon, and a lot of people were blaming him for dodging the fight. Some of the fans were also telling Stipe to work more on his ground game and take down defense rather than boxing. I guess the social media mob mentality gets out of hand at times. Anyway, for now we can only hope that Dana can sort out whatever's going on behind the scenes and announce the fight already. So from being attacked by Jon's fans to getting thrown under the bus by the UFC boss, this was why Stipe Miocic called out Dana White as the Jon Jones fight got delayed.